motherfucker. And when you say that on television, and you can't take it back, actors. Here's the thing, Brian. Actors never forget, and studio executives, X-Studio, is that a Phil Collins song?
Yeah.
X-Studio, they never forget.
Yeah.
So, So I burnt an enormous bridge over there by calling him out. But it wasn't his show, and we talked about it ad nauseum already. But Michael Eisner said, great idea. Michael Eisner's out, the new guy is in, and he goes, who are all these pothead comics interviewing Slayer?
Well, Mark just had Mark clear. I mean, I know because we made Tilt with Mark. I had a very different experience than you did with him. For me, the guy was loyal,
and Mark,
hardworking.
His second in command was Mark Antonoro.
Yeah, Michael Antonoro.
He was cool, but you could tell he just didn't want to make any ripples in the Mark Shapiro pond. Right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
No, Mark was a young guy in a huge job, which is the other. I mean, he was like 30 years old, running ESPN. So I think it was a lot of pressure, and who knows? I haven't spoken to him about.
Here's where it really went off the rails with More Sports, which to this day, I'll just say, was a fantastic show.
Yeah, great show. And you should do that. You could have done that format for a very long time.
I agree. And we had Sugar Ray Leonard saying who hit the hardest, like who made him wince. Like he said, he made me wince like a woman. He said Marvin Hagler made him wince like a woman.
Did you see like every fight Sugar Ray ever had? Because I think I saw every single.
Yeah.
Like I remember when he fought like Andy Hawk.
With Hagler.
Oh, really?
Hagler to me was like the big scary black guy, and Ray was like the guy that you see around town.
Right. So when Hagler lost those couple of fights, it bothered
He didn't fucking lose those fights.
Yes, he did.
They were at least a draw. You have to take the title.
He won. Sugar Ray beat him.
Okay. Moving on. Because
we could watch the tape and we could watch together.
And we'll go round by round.
We can go round by round.
Sonny Liston never lost to Muhammad Ali. Cassius Clay never beat Sonny Liston. If you watch that first fight round by round,
Can I tell you, it's not amateur boxing with the little white things on the front of the glove, and every time they touch with the little white thing, you win the round. It's about dominating your opponent. It's about looking to the judges like you're the guy who fucking crushed it. Sugar Ray did it. To
me, with Sugar Ray and Hagler, it was two completely different styles, and neither guy backed down from their style. Like, I love UFC. I'm a huge MMA guy, and I love wrestlers in UFC. Fans hate it. Peripheral fans, because it's boring.
Do you think Stan Stasiak really beat Ivan Koloff?
Well, Ivan Koloff and I for legal reasons, I can't. Anything Polish Hammer.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Koloff, he totally fucking lost.
Thank you.
You know what? And he was on the fucking time. He was a jobber, man. He was a jobber. You know what I mean? Once you let Don Morocco into the ring with the Asiatic spike, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yes.
Is there going to be rules or what? Honky Tonk Man, you can't bring a guitar into the ring. I'm sorry.
No, I don't. It's a foreign. I mean, the definition of a foreign object.
It's made in Taiwan.
That's right. It's a guitar.
And how are the Samoans allowed in the ring? Because they are living, breathing, carbon-based life form foreign objects.
They are
from the island of Tonga. Why are they called the Samoans if they're from the island of Tonga? Oh no, Snuka was from the island of Tonga.
Right. The Samoans, I think, were from Samoa.
What was I even talking about?
Didn't you write it down? You got the book, so you don't forget.
Yeah, but, we're talking about Doug Lyman. I wanted to get back to this. When we were shooting, Cohen, what did I just say 5 minutes ago? He's playing fucking asteroids here and sitting on the treadmill playing Dig Dug on his Kinect. Anyway. I think that's inauthentic, Doug Lyman, we were in the liquor store shooting Go, and Doug Lyman just, for some reason, we couldn't please him. And it's the scene where we find out that we're cheating on each other with the same guy, Jimmy from Makeup.
Yeah.
And Scott Wolf's like, I don't want to talk about it. It's drama and not good drama, like Roseanne, bad comedy drama. It's bad. And it's fine. I remember just staring at Crown Royal and Scotch all night because we're on our knees, and then we stand up and we walk to the register, and it's the actual guy that works there. And he's like, when are you guys going to leave? You're killing my business. So we keep handing him like 20s and shit to let us stay. And Doug just keeps coming in like, and then it degenerated to the point a couple hours later. Like, you gotta mind, like, now cops are circling what's going on in here. And he goes to Scott Wolf, let's say you're a gorilla. And JJ's a gorilla too. But he's always told you he's a gorilla, and now you're kind of finding out like he's a lion. But he's still, when you look at him, he's a gorilla. But he's a lion, And Scott goes, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. He goes, okay, and he looks at me, he goes, let's say you're a gorilla. I go, got it.
Right. Let's go. Roll.
I go,
roll.
I know exactly what he's saying. And Scott goes, oh, but I thought I was a gorilla. And I'm looking at Wolf like, shut up,
let's
what
go.
What are you doing?
Let's shoot this
fucking
thing.
dope from West Orange? That's the difference between West Orange guys and Verona guys. Right. He goes, well, I thought I was a gorilla. And he goes, no, you're both gorillas. But like, you find out he's a cheetah or a lion now, but you're still looking at someone to your eyes who's a gorilla, but maybe to the man behind the counter, he's not a gorilla. And maybe like a couple hours from now or tomorrow, you realize he's no longer a gorilla. And Scott just keeps going, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I go, Doug, you know what? Scott's hilarious. We got it. And then Scott goes to talk, and I physically like restrain him. And to his defense, he really was just he was down the rabbit hole of Doug Liman's laser beam of genius. But it was just off to the side.
You can't play. I promise you can't play that. Even if you can understand it, you can't play it.
And I looked at Scott. I go, if you fucking ask him one more question, we're going to fist fight, and I'm going to make sure cameras are rolling. And he goes, what the fuck is he talking? I go, just fucking do it the same way we've been doing it. But just
say the words.
In your mind, just think fucking gorilla or something. Let's just go home. It's 4 a.m. in Venice at a liquor store. And so we do the take. It goes bad. Okay, Jimmy from wardrobe. Jimmy. Oh my God. We walk out and Doug Liman's in Video Village. And he gives us a huge thumbs up and he's like,
you nailed it.
Yes, I told you. And he goes, wow, that was like pulling teeth with you guys. I couldn't get you guys to understand what I was saying. The next night we're doing the club scene where we go, no, it was the same night. We go to Santa Monica Airport, giant hangar. We're doing the scene where I got to kiss the guy and we cut his hair.
Yeah.
And, we're standing in line to get into the club and there's probably 200 extras, 150 of which are moderately attractive women. And we go in, we do it, one take, boom. And he comes up to us and goes, I should surround you guys with women more often. That was terrific. And we're like, oh, really? Because there's no dialogue. We walk in, tap a guy on the shoulder. Yeah. I kiss him. Scott cuts his hair. Cut, print. Done. Let's move on.
But I think we should say that Doug Liman is one of the most successful directors.
Born Identity.
Yeah. Born Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That guy and Swingers. I mean, he's directing Swingers.
Yeah. And Go.
And Go. But that's an amazing 4-movie run.
Yeah.
It's a staggering 4-movie run. Because when he did Swingers, you could have thought people did, well, it's Favreau. Favreau's the genius behind that. But Doug did direct the movie, and he did direct Go from a great script by John August. And then Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Born and then Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Whatever he does,
if you like Brad Jelena, you can thank Doug Liman for that.
Yeah, he
putting those two together. Because he said to Brad Pitt, let's say you're an ocelot. And he said to Angelina Jolie, let's say you adopt a boatload of kids. Let's say you go to the color chart and cover it, adoption-wise. And one of them oddly won't age. And then they get together like in The Rest is History, as they say.
Wow.
That was a weird situation with Go because I went and met with Doug and John August, and they said to me, great to meet you. And it was, where Crunch Fitness is, like in West Hollywood? It's like this weird, those offices that are never full, like this transient offices. And I go up there and I go, oh yeah, the guy from Swinger, sure. And they literally said, nice to meet you. I go, really great script, John, really great. And they go, so would you want to play Zach or Adam? And I go, which one says the word go? Because I forgot. And they go, Zach. And I go, I want to play the guy that says the title of the movie. And they go, all right.
And that was it?
That was it.
You didn't read?
No.
Great.
Like in my meeting, they said, which one of these two guys do you want to play? And then in the movie, when I look back now, it's super ham-fisted, like slow-mo. Go.
Right.
Like I'm shooting fucking, I thought I was saying Rosebud.
Right.
I just go.
You were so into it.
And it's that slow-mo camera, whatever it's called.
Yeah, how many for 30 frames?
Yeah. Say it. What's it called?
Well, you mean shooting in 30 frames?
Yeah, in The Godfather when he comes out of the bathroom, 30 frames, which we duplicated in Mafia, a movie that should have done better.
I never saw that movie.
You'll like it. If you smoke grass, it's amazing. He's a pothead. If you smoke grass, it's the guys that did Airplane and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Jim Abrams, delightful.
Right. They're brilliant.
So
guys.
Rounders, I talked to Gary Goldman about you. He said you were in that culture. Like you were like a degenerate gambler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where you're going asking about Tilt and Rounders. You were starting to say.
Oh, so ESPN had it for a while. Yeah. And you were one of the guys that were in there that had it. Yeah. When ESPN had the original programming.
Yeah, I spent 2 years. I spent 2 years, like kind of lost years playing poker. where they had this club on 24th Street off Madison called the Mayfair Club in the city. And I would go there. I stumbled in there one day. A friend of mine knew a guy and knew someone else who could get me in. And it was an underground card club in New York. And I'd gotten married young, and I've been faithfully married 20 years this weekend. So
Mazel.
I couldn't thank you. But the thing is, I had no real vices. Like, I didn't really get fucked up, and poker just was like, for me, it was an enormous challenge. You were totally present when you're playing. You have to be hyper focused, and I just loved every part of it. I loved winning. Sadly, I didn't mind if I lost. It would drive me crazy, but in a way that I had to go scratch the itch.
Bad beats.
Yeah. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, bad beats.
Is it true you remember? I mean, you were writing from actual experiences. Like, you do remember. Do you still now remember 15 years ago a bad
What
hand?
I remember really was the moment I knew I couldn't be a world-class poker player. I remember that I'd built my bankroll. I was walking around. I started with very little. Like, the first night I went, I lost. I had to go to the ATM, pull out more money. I lost that too. I lost $750 the first night that I ever walked into the Mayfair Club. But I called Levine when I left, and I said, this is the movie, like the thing we've been wanting to do.
Does the Mayfair Club know that there's a gambling thing going on underneath?
It's on the Mayfair Club is what the poker club is called underneath this apartment building in Manhattan.
Okay.
It was just called that.
It was like a hotel.
It was originally like a backgammon club, and then it became, but where guys would play backgammon for money. Then it became this poker club, and
that's fucking degenerate.
It was to be backgammon players. A lot of the top poker players started playing backgammon there. Eric Seidel, all these guys. So I had a job. My job was I was an A&R guy in the music business, so I would be up seeing bands all night. So instead, like, I would go see a band, and then I would just, like, stumble into the Mayfair at, 12, 1 or 2, and I would just play till the morning. And then I would, like, go to the office, and I'd leave midday, and I'd go play cards. And I really spent a couple of years playing poker, and I built up my bankroll and built it up and got better and better. And finally, I played in the biggest game they had there, which was a $75, $150 rotation game. So it was like Hold'em, Omaha, Stud, and High-Low. And I was up against a world-class guy named Mickey Appleman in this one hand. And it was for my whole... So I was so proud of this gangster role I had. Like, I would walk around with, $8,000 or $10,000. And it was, like, only for gambling. Like, if I wanted to get pizza and I didn't have enough money for pizza, I wouldn't touch... I could have $8,000 on me. I wouldn't touch it.
You respected it.
That was for that was for poker. That was... And I really got cocky. Like, no, this is my... I'm not a gambler. I'm a poker player. I really thought I was going to be the World Series of Poker. Like, I was going to... And so I was in this game, and it basically had the whole fucking gangster's role in play, and I was playing a game of Omaha High-Low against this guy named Mickey Appleman, who has the clearest eyes. You could just see he knew everything. And I had no idea where I was, and I was sure that I'd won the hand, and I turned over...
What did you have?
I turned over a flush, and I thought I'd won the hand with this flush, because I thought I knew where I was. And he had a full house, and he just gutted me, and... I lost all of it. Like, it was raise. And it was really late at night. But these guys, like in The Hustler, like, it was really late. It was 5 or 6 a.m. They were clear, and I was loopy. I was like Inigo Montoya at the end of the sword fight against the Man in Black. Like, when he's just swinging the sword like crazy up, and I was completely out of my element. And I remember walking out of there, and the whole gangster role was gone. Like, you can imagine what a dick I was at home about the gangster's role, like how I would place it so that my wife could see it. Do you know what I mean? Or
like, things are going great.
Yeah, like, it would just be like right there in the thing, and then it was just gone. And I knew in that moment I would never be a real poker player. Ever. Because
but it's not like you got played, like you had a flush. Like, that's when you bet.
I shouldn't. The whole thing in poker is to know where you are in the hand. The whole thing is, where am I versus where you are? I have to know where you are.
How would you play it differently?
By folding 3.
When?
2.
When in the hand?
2 streets ago. I would, by folding, as soon as I realized Mickey Appleman is about 10 levels better than me, and I have no business. How about that? I had no business sitting at that table.
You have a flush. In the scheme of poker,
yeah, flush is really good. Only things better are, full house, 4 of a kind, or
right,
straight flush, royal flush. And those things are very hard to get. But it doesn't matter. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. I could have had a 3 of a kind, and he could have had the flush. The point is, the moment. It's the moment that, like, Sam Snead, really super famous golfer. The most famous teacher ever in golf, this guy Harvey Penick, taught a lot of guys. He wrote this incredible book. But he was going to be a pro golfer, Harvey Penick. And he was great, the best guy in Texas.
Harvey Penick?
Penick, P-E-N.
All these names you have, they're like out of a Runyon novel.
Yeah.
Harvey Penick, Mickey Appleman.
Yeah. Harvey
great.
Penick, he was gonna be a pro golfer, and he was the best in his state. And he went to this big tournament, and he was standing at one end of the range, and he just heard a sound, and it was the sound of Sam Snead hitting the ball. And the second he heard the sound of it, he immediately knew he was never going to be a professional golfer.
He's a fucking pussy. Hang in there, Panic.
He fucking hung him up.
What a dope.
But I had that experience because I did stand-up for a couple of years.
Yeah, Gary said you were good.
That's really nice to hear. But what I knew was I didn't have 100 mile an hour. I was never going to be Frank Tanana or Nolan Ryan. And,
I like how you put Frank Tanana on the same level as Nolan Ryan.
Well, he was like, because even if